Blessings to you wherever you are. God bless you. Thank you for joining us. Relentless, we are delighted. Do me a favor, invite somebody, share this link. I know God is going to bless you. I know today there is a word for you from the Lord. But even before I go any further, help me thank God for Lady Regina. Thank you for leading the team. Thank you for putting us together. Thank you, my brother David Lee, Andre, Tiana, Ken, everybody working behind the scenes to make sure that we are able to broadcast to you live. Be blessed. We want to thank God again for all of, please share the link, invite somebody. This is the day. I believe that God is, as we close the year, it's my prayer that He will speak to you and bring clarity to whatever He promised you. And every question that you have, I pray that He will be answered. He is an on-time God. Yes, He is. We are doing part 2. Last week, we started our first part on Too Close to Quit. And this is part number 2, Too Close to Quit. If you've got your Bibles, turn with me to 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse number 7. 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse number 7, I have fought the good fight. I've finished the race. I've kept the faith. I've fought the good fight. I've finished the race. I've kept the faith. Again, this is part 2 of Too Close to Quit. And for those of you that are taking notes, for the subtitle, I'll use nevertheless, I'm still standing. Nevertheless, I'm still standing. My dear friends, recently there was a hurricane that devastated the entire island of Jamaica. We saw on camera homes were flattened, roads were washed away, neighborhoods that took decades to build were brought to their knees just in a single storm. I watched the footage and felt something collapse inside me as I saw the entire communities that once held laughter now drowned in silence. But right there, in the middle of ruin and brokenness, something caught my attention. Watching TV, something stood out. Buildings were gone, steel frames were twisted, concrete walls were cracked open like eggshells. Yet what stood and caught my attention was the palm tree. The palm tree, tall, slender, were still standing. They were bent, yes. They were beaten, absolutely, but not broken. They were not uprooted. They were not defeated. And immediately, the Spirit of God whispered to me, Ronnie, that's what endurance looks like. Not perfection, but endurance. Not immunity, not insulation, but resilience. And I came to speak to somebody about resilience on right now, because storms don't reveal how fragile you are. Storms reveal how rooted you are. And somebody under the sound of my voice, you've been bent by life. As 2025 comes to an end, you've been stretched by seasons. You've been whipped by winds. You've been hit by things that should have broken you, but somehow you're still standing. The enemy thought that he would wipe you out, but you are still standing. That's why Paul writes to Timothy in 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse number 7, I've fought the good fight, I've finished the race, and I've kept the faith. I have fought the good fight, because Paul wants Timothy to understand that survival is not accidental. Destiny is not automatic. Standing is not coincidental. He said, I fought. I fought because Timothy can admire Paul's anointing. But Paul is exposing his battle. I've fought because everybody wants your oil. Everybody wants you to be you, but nobody wants your crushing. Everybody wants the mantle of the great men of God, but not everybody wants their midnight struggles. Everybody wants their revelation, but not everybody can handle the wrestling that goes on. Paul tells Timothy, being me is not easy. You can get suits like mine, but suits won't make you stand like me. You can use my vocabulary, you can borrow the diction, but it won't give you victory. If you only see the glamour, you don't see the fight, you're gonna miss it. So to help Timothy, Paul wants him to understand the weight of finishing. And I think as I meditate on this scripture, I think of a covenant story I once read from Ghana, in a small town outside of Kumasi. There lived an old couple, married over 40 years, when suddenly the wife suffered a stroke that took her speech. She became immobile. Eventually, this stroke took this woman's memory. She forgot how to walk. She forgot how to talk. And one day she forgot his name. His neighbors kept whispering he should put her in a home. They said he's too old to carry her. They said she doesn't even know him anymore. And this man kept hearing all the conversations. Friends kept telling him what the community was saying. But every morning before sunrise, this man would rise from bed. He warmed the water to bathe her. He fed her slowly with hands that trembled. He lifted her from room to room. Though his bones groaned under his weight, is old, he still helped this wife. And when the neighbors asked him one day openly, why do you serve someone that doesn't even remember you? He looked up with his tired eyes and said something so profound. Memory is hers, but covenant is mine. Did you just hear what I said? Memory is hers, but covenant is mine. That statement shook me to my core, because covenant is not convenience. You understand that covenant is not a contract. Covenant is not chemistry. When chemistry is done, you've gotten married 3 months down the road, it's covenant that's going to sustain you. Covenant is not comfort. Covenant is commitment. It is the willingness to finish what you promised even when feelings fail you. I came to speak to somebody. When she died, that same old man carried her body like a young boy. He cried and cried, not because she had been perfect, not because the marriage has been painless, but because he had finished. He completed something that many people only talk about. And that is the demonstration I could find when I read 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse number 7. Timothy, I've fought the good fight. I've finished the race. I've kept the faith. Timothy, I've fought the good fight. With his life, not his lips. He stood there thinking, that's what Paul meant, I know. It's not convenient finishing. That's covenant finishing. So when Paul says, I fought the good fight, he's not exaggerating. He's not trying to dramatize. He's confessing. Some of you listening to me right now, You didn't glide into here. You didn't just come and start listening to me. You fought your way to start listening to me. This entire week has been fighting. I'm speaking to somebody. Your workplace, it was a fight for you to keep your sanity. You fought through depression. You fought through anxiety. I came to speak to somebody. You fought through betrayal to come and even tune in even right now. You fought through disappointment. You fought through memories that threaten to paralyze you. You fought to get out of bed. You fought to keep awake. You fought to keep loving. You fought to keep believing. You fought with haters. You fought with liars. You fought with backbiters. You know the critics keep coming after you, but you fought your co-workers who wouldn't understand your calling, even if you drew them a blueprint. And the craziest part is, most of your fight wasn't with people. Most of your fight was internal. You laid in bed fighting thoughts that wouldn't stop, fighting tears that wouldn't let go. You're fighting fears, fighting insecurities that kept whispering, you are not enough. I came to speak to somebody. Paul is saying, Timothy, you saw the miracles, but you didn't see the misery. You saw the healing, but you never saw the hell that was thrown at me. And that's why the Bible tells us, fight the good fight of faith. Fight. 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 12. Fight the good fight of faith. Fight the good fight of faith, because faith isn't fragile. Faith is a fight. Faith is survival. Faith is showing up even when nothing changed. Faith is praying even when heaven feels silent. Faith is pushing even when your energy is low. I will worship while wounded. I will trust God when the process feels like punishment. That is faith. And Paul says something profound after all his hits, after all his tears, after all the battles, after all the lonely nights. I fought a good fight. And hear me. I hear God saying today, your fight qualifies you. I came to speak to somebody. Your fight is what qualifies you. Your fight is what qualifies you. I've fought a good fight. I've finished the race. I've kept the faith. It's not your degrees that are going to qualify you. It is not your resume that is going to qualify you. It is your faith, not your connection, not your charisma, not your fight. But God doesn't use people who never bled. He uses people who survived storms and they never told anyone about. I've kept the faith. Paul says, I have kept the faith. I have kept the faith. That line lands differently once you understand the weight behind it. I'm not bragging. No, he's confessing survival. In those 5 words, Paul is telling Timothy, I lost friends, but I didn't lose my faith. I lost comfort, but I refused to lose my conviction. I lost opportunities, but I refuse to give up on my obedience. I may have lost my strength, but I'm committed not to lose my surrender. Keeping the faith doesn't mean life honored your timeline. No, you never got what you wanted. Most of the things you've prayed for haven't even come to fruition. You believe God for a job and it doesn't come. So it doesn't mean that everything came to pass. But keeping faith is not when people treat you fairly. Keeping the faith is not when your path is smooth. Keeping the faith means that even when life empties my hands, I still refuse to let go of God. And somebody reading Somebody listening to me right now, you're reading this passage, you need to take a moment and thank God. You need to just take a moment and thank God that hell took a lot from you. Hell took your peace. Hell took your routine. Hell took your strength. The enemy took your confidence, but he never took your faith. The fact that you're still here is proof that you're still trusting, because if the enemy could have taken your faith, would have taken your future. But Paul says, I have finished my course. I have kept my faith. I have finished my course. I have finished my course. Not your course, not their course, not my mother's course, not my spouse's course. No, I have finished my course, because we live in a generation addicted to incompletes. People quit careers because they're not happy. They quit ministries because they weren't celebrated. They quit marriages because the excitement faded. They quit responsibilities because they didn't feel appreciated. We live in a time where people quit purpose because progress wasn't instant. But happiness is not convenient. I come to tell you, happiness is not covenant. Convenience is not commitment. Feelings are not the foundation. Paul warns Timothy that finishing requires focus, staying powerful. You've got to have the discipline. He's telling him every unfinished thing wounds the architect of your character. If quitting becomes your pattern, then quitting is going to become your personality. And today, God is breaking that quitting spirit of your life. You can't quit just because it's not working out. Paul can speak like this because he knows what it feels like to be powerful on the outside and powerless on the inside. Quickly run to 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 8 to 9. It says, 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me, but he said, my grace is sufficient for you, and my power is made perfect in your weakness. 3 times Paul pleaded with the Lord. There is a thorn in my flesh. Take it out. Not once, not twice, not thrice. He's pleading with the Lord. I've got a struggle in my life. Take it away. And all that God said was, my grace is sufficient for you, and my power is made perfect in weakness. He prayed for removal, but God gave him revelation. He prayed for escape, but God gave him endurance. And sometimes God doesn't deliver you from the fire. No. Sometimes God walks with you in the fire. Sometimes God doesn't spare you from the storm. He roots you deeper inside the storm. Because the thorn that Paul had was not punishment. I believe the thorn that Paul had in his flesh was training. It was the thorn that made Paul dependent. It was the thorn that made Paul prayerful. It was the thorn that made Paul usable. And that is why Romans chapter 8 and verse 28 does not say all things are good. It says all things work for good. The betrayal worked. The heartbreak worked. The disappointment worked. The thorn worked. Even your pain is carrying purpose. And as I think about Paul's thorn, I think another story. There's a story that hit me so deep. It hit me personally recently. My cousin visited me from Boston. She visited me with my wife, and as we were hanging out, she shared a story about she came along with her husband and sharing the story about her husband's mother. And this story caught my tracks. He's saying and narrating that his mother used to sell charcoal by the roadside to pay their school tuition. A number of siblings. It was not just a side hustle. That was for survival. And Daniel, as he kept telling me, he said one afternoon he came home from school and he didn't even recognize her. Her entire face was darkened with charcoal dust. Her eyes were tired from smoke. Her hands were scared from labor. Her voice was hoarse from long days of shouting, looking for money, shouting the prices of a commodity she's selling. And he said she looked nothing like the picture of her childhood. She looked like sacrifice, wearing human skin, struggling to make money to keep her children in school. And that woman kept the faith, not in a church pew, not in a revival line, not with a microphone, but with a bag of charcoal on her head and fire in her lungs. She didn't just provide, she persevered. She didn't just work, she was worrying to take care of her children. And she didn't just raise children, she raised future. And these are noble people that came out greatly. And everything her son became was built on a mother who refused to quit even when life tried to crush her. And he says the reason why he cried and looked at her casket, his mind went back remembering this picture, because this is a woman that fought to ensure her children would make it. And that's why Paul's statements hit down to the soul. I have kept the faith. Keeping the faith is not you continue even when you have no applause. Keeping the faith is when you push even when you have no energy. Keeping the faith is when you show up in seasons where the only strength you have is borrowed from grace. And when we see Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, Luke chapter 22 and verse 42, when we encounter Jesus, records his prayer, Father, if you will, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but your will be done. This is the Son of God. Son of God is asking the Father, is there any way out of this assignment? Is there anything I can do? Daddy, this is heavier than I expected. He prayed 3 times. Heaven didn't respond until his prayer changed from take it to nevertheless. Nevertheless. Nevertheless, because heaven doesn't respond to complaints. Heaven responds to surrender. Heaven does not respond when you start panicking. No, heaven is going to respond to your posture. And when Jesus says nevertheless, I'm reminded of Hebrews chapter 12 and verse number 2. For the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross. I believe as he's praying to the Father, he looked at the joy that was set before him. And it is that joy that made him endure. He endured because joy was waiting for him. He suffered because glory was coming. He finished because purpose was on the other side of pain. And this is where your breakthrough sits, your nevertheless moment. Nevertheless, I'll trust you, God. Nevertheless, I'll keep believing. Nevertheless, I'll walk even when I'm wounded. Nevertheless, I'll finish even when I am tired. Nevertheless, renewed. He renewed your strength. When God renews your strength, I believe as you pray and ask God, I will endure. I will fight the good fight of faith. I'm not going to surrender. Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 31, Bible says, those that hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall renew their strength. Renewing your strength means God restores what life tries to drain. What life tries to drain, God comes and restores. Renew Renewed strength means God will rebuild what trauma tried to tear, what divorce tried to bring to you, what that job loss tried to do to you. He will renew your strength. God will revive what grief tried to suffocate. The only reason you're still here, the only reason you're still standing is because God renewed you when life almost ruined you. And now, I want to preach this because some of you don't know how strong you really are. You think you're weak because you cried, but crying is proof of your survival. You think fear makes you fragile. No, you're not fragile. Fear is the fire of your faith. You think bending meant breaking, but it's bending that was breaking. You wouldn't be reading this. You wouldn't be believing this. You wouldn't be listening to me. You wouldn't be standing here. But you're still standing because God rebuilt you at the point of your breaking. At the point when you would have thrown in the towel. At the point when your mind was going crazy. At the point when everybody deserted you, you are fired. The house is being repossessed. You don't have anywhere to go, but you're still standing because grace grabbed you where grief tried to bury you. You're still standing because mercy has carried you through every misery. You're still standing because heaven has held you during hell's heaviest blows. And you survived your childhood trauma. You survived your heartbreak. You survived betrayal that tried to erase your identity. You survived nights where tears spoke louder than the prayers. I came to thank God you survived seasons where nobody checked on you, nobody visited you, nobody called to say, are you okay? But God kept his hand on you, and you may be bruised, you may be wounded, you may be in the hospital, but you're still breathing. And I came to talk to somebody, you may be tired, but you're still trusting. You are still here, you may be wounded, but you're still worshiping. You may be limping, but you're still lasting. Lay your hands on your head and declare, I declare, I will stand, I will not give up. I'm not a quitter. I'm called to stand. I have fought the good fight of faith. I've finished the race. I've kept the faith. And as I close this, I began by telling you about a storm that occurred in Jamaica. Every house was left down. Lines, power lines, everything was down. Trees broken but the palm tree was still standing. A palm tree, because not every tree survives a storm. The oak tree is strong, but the oak is stubborn. When the wind comes, the oak resists, and when it resists too long, the oak breaks. The cedar tree is tall and stately, but the cedar is rigid. When the hurricane pushes, the cedar snaps under pressure. The mango tree is fruitful, but the mango tree, its branches tear easily, and its fruit scatters across the ground when the winds get violent. But the palm tree, the palm tree is different. The palm tree doesn't resist. The palm tree responds. When the storm comes, it responds. Then when the storm comes, it responds. I may not direct the wind, but I can adjust my sail. And that's what the palm tree does. It flows with the wind. The palm tree can bend so low that its branches touch the ground, and yet when the storm passes, it rises again. And I see the picture from the islands after the hurricane, where everything was destroyed except the palms. Houses were gone, cars were overturned, power lines scattered, concrete cracked, but the palm tree stood rooted, still standing, still reaching. They glow while bent. The trunk curves, but the body, even when it twists, somehow new life still sprouts from an angle that should have been impossible. Haven't you seen pictures of palm trees that grow when they've almost touched the ground? And I hear the Lord saying, that's you. You have been bent, but you're never broken. You've bowed, but you didn't collapse. You've bent under pressure, but the pressure never uprooted you. You are the palm tree. And when Jesus preaches, nevertheless, heaven saw a palm tree, bent in Gethsemane, but standing on Calvary, bent under betrayal, but standing at resurrection, bent, divorce tried to bend you, but you survived. You're standing, and let this be your glory. Let this be your testimony. Let this be your announcement to the enemy who counted you out too early. I'm still standing. Declare, you thought you'd destroy me after that divorce, but I'm still standing. Declare, you thought you'd take me out after those lies, but I'm still standing. You thought you'd destroy me after the loneliness, but I'm still standing. You attacked my reputation, but I'm still standing. After the storm, I stand. After seasons that would have snapped me into two, I stand because God didn't let me fall. And I come to tell you, it was grace that refused to let you go. It was favor that wouldn't let you die. It was mercy that fought for you when you were tired and you couldn't fight. God sent his angels to sustain you. You're standing because heaven held while hell tried to destroy you. And that's why hell is angry with you today. Not because you're perfect, but because you refuse. You refuse to quit. And now I want you to declare it with authority. I want you to declare it with faith. I want you to declare it with fire, with everything in you. Declare 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 7. I fought the good fight. I fought the good fight. I finished the race. I've kept the faith. I fought. I'm still fighting. Declare with me, I will finish. I'll keep the faith. Declare, I will keep the faith. Because I'm too close to my promise. I'm too close to my blessing. I'm too close to my prosperity. I'm too close to what God is about to do in my life. I will not quit. I will not surrender. I refuse to give up. It is my faith that qualifies me. It is my faith that qualifies me, not my charisma, not my connections, not my degrees, not my nothing, but my faith. That's why it's a fight of faith. And all the enemy wants is to take out your faith. But I pray for you. Just like he prayed for Peter, I'm praying for you. That after you've stood, you've encouraged your brother. Your story will encourage somebody else. I'm too close to quit. And I want to pray for somebody right now. I want to pray for you. You feel like everything is failing around you. Your finances are failing. Your marriage is failing. Raising your children is failing. Your job is failing. Your money is fading, but I'm praying for you. The enemy will not take you out. Your faith will stand. You are closer than you expected. Don't you dare quit. You're too close to quit. Don't you dare throw in the towel. And by the grace of God, may he give you the grace to keep on, to endure, to stand. Because it's a fight of faith. You will not give up. And I pray that heaven will open a door for you. I pray that God will supernaturally empower you. God will send His power to sustain you. I'm praying for the doors that have been shut, the opportunities that never open. I'm praying for relationships that keep messing up. Your family is so divided. I'm praying for unity and harmony. Even in your marriage, I'm praying for your children. I'm praying even for your financial struggle. Somebody is struggling to pay your two children's tuition. You're struggling to even make ends meet. You don't know how the rent when this month is gonna come from. You don't know. But I pray that God will make a way for you. He will make a way for you. You'll stand. You'll not give up. You will not quit. You will not surrender. Wherever you are, begin praising God. Begin praising God. Begin praising God. You want to give your life to Jesus Christ? Feel free to write to us. Connect at relentlessc.org. We shall pray for you. We shall guide you, and we shall give you the tools that you need to stand. And if you're able to find a Bible teaching church around you, please find that Bible teaching church. God will empower you. God will bless you tremendously. You want to be a blessing to Relentless? Just look below. 3 different ways that you can give. We are delighted that you could spend your Sunday with us. We thank God for you. But whatever you do, don't you dare quit. Your miracle is around the corner. Be blessed.